Hey, what's going on, guys? Brandon here with Texas Revving, and as the title suggests, I bought a C6 ZR1, and I am so excited to showcase it in this video and in future videos to come. This may come out of totally left field for those who don't know me, but even on this channel, I have talked about just how much I love a C6 ZR1, how I thought it was undervalued, how I'd love one day, and well, that day finally came just last month. Let me go ahead and just get more comfortable. Let me just get something real quick. Alrighty, let's see here. Showtime, baby. Now that we feel and look the part, let's talk about how we came to this. Well, again, if you just glance at the channel, you think it's very Ford heavy, because it is. I love Ford. I love the Shelby Mustangs, the GTD, Ford GT, all that stuff, the Raptors. Very, very much so. That doesn't mean I don't like Corvette. In fact, Corvettes are older than this, the newer ones, C8 ZR1s. The internet paints the picture that GTD clients are enemies with ZR1 clients and all that stuff, but that's just not the case. That only exists online from what I see. Enthusiasts are just enthusiasts. I am a car enthusiast of all brands. It just so happens I'm kind of Ford heavy, but I have always said this on this channel and definitely just among friends, just in person, that if there was a Corvette for me, it is the C6 ZR1. And for some reasons I can pinpoint, and other ones are just vague, and I struggle putting into words on why this car here appealed to me of all the Corvette range. The new Corvette is just that. It's like a new era of Corvette, and Corvette is doing some amazing things. Again, as a Ford fanboy, I will admit the C8 lineup has been awesome. I love the Z06 with the flat plane crank, and then you can't really dispute the performance of the ZR1 and ZR1X. Amazing things, but in my head, I just kind of, I don't know, redefine that as newer Corvettes. Everything that's a dual clutch and mid-engine is just new Corvette. On to great things, dominating cars around the world, all that kind of stuff, and representing America, love that. But my mind is still stuck back here, and I can't help myself. I think Corvette of the front engine, manual transmission, especially the manual only stuff, that's like where, I don't know, I haven't moved on yet. It's a weird cross. I've mentioned this before with other cars like my 2014 GT500 and such, but it is old enough to be nostalgic to me, because when this came out, I was so impressionable. I was just starting to get my impressions of, you know, being a car person that was gonna shape me for life. I'm never gonna not be a car person. And this was relatively early in all that. So how can I not love cars from this generation? So again, the newer Corvettes, the newer ZR1 and all that stuff, it's better in every technical aspect. Performance, definitely the interior quality, all that kind of stuff. But again, I'm just hard-headed. I'm stuck right here. So what is behind me? What was the C6 ZR1? In some way, I kind of want to say it was a wolf in sheep's clothing, but it doesn't look like a sheep. It still looks really cool. But what I'm saying though is it was through and through a supercar that looked like a C6 Corvette. It shared the same wide body from the Grand Sport and the Z06, but there was certainly some components that changed here that made it the boogeyman of its time. Every exotic and supercar at its time couldn't outrun one of these things. We're talking about 2009, and so I think 2009 horsepower just hits differently. Talking of that, this is powered by what was called the LS9. It's a 6.2 liter supercharged V8, so it was done the right way in my opinion. And good for 638 horsepower in what was a relatively lightweight car, 3,300 pounds. But I hope you caught yourself on that. When I said the horsepower, did it just go in one ear and out the other? Because if that happened, you're subject to being spoiled by modern numbers. So again, 638 horsepower, 604 pound-feet of torque. By today's standards, we hear like that kind of stuff all the time. But I have to say, it's almost like you have to adjust for power inflation. But nowadays we hear crazy horsepower ratings well beyond that, because a lot of people are doing twin turbochargers, hybrid with twin turbos, or even worse, just full on all electric. But something about doing it this way, manual transmission only, rear wheel drive only, 638 horsepower, and again over 600 pound-feet of torque, done this way. A lot of carbon fiber construction with some of the body panels. You could even see some of it while you drive, because you see under the paint, under the hood. Carbon ceramic brakes, standard. That is such an expensive option on some supercars, but it wasn't an option on the ZR1. It was just standard carbon ceramic brakes. They look amazing too, if I do say so myself. Carbon fiber side skirt, carbon fiber splitter. At a glance, you might miss, but once you look closer, you realize it's got a lot of the supercar elements. Full carbon fiber visible roof as well. So all that time ago and today, I still think the C6 ZR1, visually speaking, is still kind of a if you know car. Yes, there's a couple of cues like a ZR1 badge, obviously. These two air vents right here on the side that are so distinctive to the C6 ZR1, and of course the clear hood as well. I remember back at the time when that was released, it was a very kind of gimmicky feature. Ferrari was showcasing their mid-engine V8 with the big glass thing, and Corvette kind of went, well, here's the clear part of the hood. So I remember it was kind of gimmicky at the time, but all this time later, now I love it because I love the C6 ZR1. It's one of the defining points visually to distinct it from some of the other ones as well. C6 ZR1, first Corvette to get over 200 miles an hour. I think the top speed is 204 or 205 miles an hour. 0 to 60, 3.4 seconds. So again, at its time, it was the boogeyman. Pretty much embarrassed everybody who spent 3 times the price on one of these. But how has it fared all this time later? And well, it's no longer the fastest, but oh my gosh, it is still so fast, like crazy fast by today's standards. This was the last ZR1 that was manual transmission only. The C7 ZR1 is awesome, and that was optioned with a 7-speed manual, but it wasn't optioned. You could have also got one with a single clutch paddle shifter. With that said, second to last body style, the C6, and with that second to last ZR1, that's front engine, rear wheel drive only. The new Corvette's obviously mid-engine. ZR1 is rear wheel drive, ZR1X with the hybrid drivetrain up front, it's all wheel drive. So all very cool stuff, all very technical and technically better, like I keep saying, but again, something about this is, well, I won't say it's primitive, it's not classic, but it's just where I'm stuck at in time. Too new to be a classic, but at its time and today, I think the C6 ZR1 is an icon, and icons will eventually be classics, but I certainly wanted to get it before I couldn't. Now I know I'm dressed the part to tell you that this is a one of one, but in fact, it's not incredibly rare, but to give you the numbers, they made them from 2009 was the first year, and all the way to 2013. So total, a 5-year run, they made 4,684. Just for some relativity, the 2005-2006 Ford GT, they made about 4,038. So, a few hundred more than that, but really not too far off from the 05-06 Ford GT. And now I'm gonna really turn into the Corvette guy here when I tell you that there's only 272 of all the years finishing Velocity Yellow. I love Velocity Yellow. I actually seeked Velocity Yellow because, I don't know, the way I associate blue and Ford and red with Ferrari, I associate yellow with Corvettes, the racing colors. I think it looks awesome. I think every body style of Corvette looks really cool in yellow, some of the later ones especially. No exception with the C6 ZR1. When I told some of my friends I was seeking one in yellow, they went, yellow? Why yellow? But then just look at the C6R, all the endurance racing. Something about a Corvette in yellow just looks really cool. But again, C6 ZR1 with all this kind of accenting and everything, I love it in yellow. But 272 made this way. They made a few different colors, and there's a chart out there online if you're curious to see how many they made in each color. In fact, I could probably display that right now. Back in 2009 through 2013, when they were new, they actually had a pretty high MSRP. You guys might be wondering what I paid for it, and I'm pretty open with this channel. I have nothing to hide, and so I'll tell you about that and why I think it's a little undervalued. When I tell you what I paid for, some people out there are gonna squirm and think I overpaid, but just let my boy math try to explain it to you the best I can. All right, long story short, this one here is a 2011. It's got 18,000 miles, and I paid, drum roll, $105,000. In today's market, which I think is ridiculous, it's a crazy market, don't know what's going on, I feel okay about that, but I am very well aware that just a little over a year ago, that probably could have been had for somewhere in the 80s. I know. I'm not gonna beat myself up over that. I was doing other things a year and a half ago, so I got it when I could. But something to say about that, a decade and a half later, I still got this thing for under MSRP. The MSRP from 2009 to 2013 was very, very high. I can't speak for all of them and the starting price and all the options, but I do know this car here, 3ZR package, 2011 ZR1, has an MSRP, a window sticker of a little over $125,000 in 2011. So I got it for $20,000 under MSRP. Now here's where the real crazy boy math comes into play. 2011 adjusted for inflation for 2026 has the spending power. It's about $186,000 or so. So I technically got it for $81,000 under sticker. I know that's reaching. So anyway, I got it for $20,000 under sticker. And again, if you compare the best driving cars from like the early 2010s, like GT3 RSs and GT3s and stuff at that time, they're exploding in value to a point I don't get it anymore, but I want to own one day. And so we'll see what happens with the market. But this one just never really caught up. They depreciated fairly hard even. And then people just kind of caught on, the secret got out a little bit to where they're kind of starting to creep back up to their sticker. It's only been a little over a month. They're getting listed for like over 150, which I think is crazy. But some auction websites, you can see them actually selling for like around the 130s. In fact, recently a dealership in Texas bought one for I think 130 something thousand on Bring a Trailer, and they already have it listed on the website in the 160s. So don't like that so much, but I'm just saying that's what some people are doing. Some other people are speculatively buying these cars because they're expecting them to rise a little bit more bullish. I did buy this one, certainly not for investment purposes. I just kind of weighed out the options thinking if I sat on it a little longer and the market kind of just ran away from me, maybe I would never get one. or if I get one and the market dipped back to what they were a couple years ago, I'll live with myself and just know, hey, I got the car for a couple more years than I otherwise would have, and the car is the same car I bought. So that's kind of why we came here and why I kind of acted as fast as I did. Now, like I said, I bought it a little over a month ago, but why am I just now making a video on YouTube? And well, really, I wanted to wait a little bit longer, but I just lost patience. The reason I wanted to wait longer is I bought it from a pretty big and reputable dealership, and so I felt pretty good about it. I was told it needed nothing. Upon delivery, I had a couple gremlins I needed to sort. It is a 15-year-old car, and so I expected a couple things, but I was greeted with not the best first impression, but again, like Henry Ford said, there is no big problems, just a lot of little problems, and this car gave me a lot of little problems. Working through it now, not trying to make this sound too grim, ultimately, it's a nice driving car right now, and we're gonna get it even better. So it got delivered, and I was driving it off the delivery vehicle because the delivery driver wasn't too confident with manual, so that's not too confidence inspiring, but whatever. I hopped in there, I was pulling it down in front of my driveway, and right when I got in the car and started up, I was welcomed with 3 warning lights, and those read, service ride control, shocks inoperative, and max speed 80 miles an hour. And so that was not a great start. Long story short with that is I took it to a local shop and they diagnosed the issue, found it. Some grounding issue, they resolved. So all the warnings are gone. I can drive it over 80 miles an hour. While it was in that shop though, they were doing diagnostics on it and they found that one of the front shocks was leaking. Not a super catastrophic leak. They would call it more like a seepage, but they did say you could drive it like this, no problem, but within a year or so, you should look at replacing that. So I know me, I don't want to sit on something a year or two. We're going to go ahead and replace that and get the front all situated. And so that's happening next week. I could keep going with a couple little gremlins here and there, but it's just not worth it. All I'm saying though is within the first couple weeks, I kind of found as many of the issues I'm going to. And so resolved a few of them. Some other ones are going to get resolved next week. We should be all good. And then one of those situations, kind of just shot myself in the foot here. One of the things that the C6 Corvette is prone to is the dashboard peeling up. I was happy when the car got delivered. The dashboard looked perfect. Nothing was peeling up, nothing like that. And I knew that I wanted to get some paint protection film. So I brought it over to my friends at Bespoke and I actually just bit the bullet, paid the pretty penny, did front to back, full PPF, full ceramic coating on this thing. While I was there, I said it'd probably be smart to put some kind of UV protective tint on the windshield inside to protect the UV rays from beating up the dash and maybe it peels up. Welp. In doing that, I got the dash to peel up. Something about they were squeegeeing the windshield, some water goes down there like it always does with windshield tint. And then that combined with the heat of Texas in July, it kind of just shriveled up some of the dash. So the dash had no issue. And as I look at it behind me, I'm embarrassed to showcase it, but I will. It's peeling up in 3 different spots. Over by the heads-up display really badly, and then bubbling up kind of middle and then towards the passenger side. So that's not fun. Knowing me, I'm not gonna let it sit like that for long, so I am gonna get that resolved. However, I'm gonna use that as a positive. I could either just get it repaired, but I was talking to someone on Instagram who's actually done something on one of my cars before. He's a great upholstery guy from what I've seen and what he's done for me so far. And so with inspiration on something I saw on Instagram, I rendered something up with yellow stitching, and I might just use all this as an excuse to just redo parts of the interior. I'm not gonna lie, the inside of this car just smells like older leather, like my grandpa's Lincoln Town car. Like it smells like his car to the T. So like I said, I'm gonna use this peeling dash as an opportunity to just improve it. As of right now, I think I'm gonna go with like an Alcantara dash, just reupholster it with this guy that I know. And so a lot of Alcantara, even on the doors, the center armrest, around the shifter, the dash, everything, and do yellow stitching. I think this car looks so much newer than it really is, but all that kind of goes away with the interior. It does look like a 15-year-old interior. That's my personal issue. I love having a car to drive. That's why I seeked one with 18,000 miles, but I also want it in like concours shape all the time. That duality is a little hard. When I bought the car, it had the chrome wheels that are so iconic to the ZR1. And the funny thing is, I don't really like chrome on cars, but my exception is classic cars for sure. And the other exception was on a C6 ZR1. It's not that I think the chrome wheels looked amazing on the C6 ZR1, but I associated them to the C6 ZR1 to where I started to like them. So I bought the car with the chrome wheels, and as I started driving around and looked at it in my driveway and garage, I went, wow, I'm actually really liking these chrome wheels. But I did tell myself if I ever source these wheels, these are the cup wheels for the C6 generation with the right, center cap logo, and they are made for a ZR1, then I was gonna jump on them. And I found a listing on Auto Trader of a C6 ZR1, and I saw these in the back of the garage, and I asked if he would sell them separately, and he did. So shout out to him. So even though I started liking the chrome wheels, I told myself, let's get some new tires and put them on here, see what I think about them. And now I've drawn the conclusion that I love both wheels. The black wheels look really cool, in my opinion, make it look a little modern, makes the blue calipers stand out more, makes the carbon ceramic disc just meaner looking. I don't know, something about it. I just think it looks meaner and more modern. But when I put the chrome wheels on, as you're seeing some pictures of it, gosh, I think that looks really good too. Good segue to talk about my plans with the car. These things are blank canvases to people who love building up cars, like race cars, drag racing, all that kind of stuff. These things make over 1,000 horsepower so easily. I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna keep it pretty much stock. The only thing in my impression, I only drove like 150 miles so far. My impression so far is that the exhaust is a little quieter than I thought. On startup, even revs, kind of mid-low revs, in between shifts, the burbles and not pops, I would just say burbles, the exhaust sounds really good. Tone, I would say 10 out of 10. Volume though, I'm not rewarded on my rev match, and it just is a little bit lackluster, so I do want an exhaust. So I'm probably gonna go with the Corsa Extreme exhaust getting installed sometime next week as well. So I'll be sure to make an updated video here as soon as I can with the fixed upholstery, upgraded upholstery, exhaust, and everything is just sorted, and there's no more bulletin list, no more chores, and we can just get to just straight up driving it, enjoying it. A little bit of a tease, more content coming with this car very soon for sure. While we're here though, little channel update, you guys might be wondering about the GTD status. I pushed the order back just because of the special edition and the competition series and stuff like that. So my order engagement window was supposed to be last year. It is getting pushed off, and I'll find out my new order engagement window sometime late this month. So GTD still happening, but it is probably going to be a while, like over a year. So don't be chopping at the bit too much for that one. It's gonna be worth waiting for. And the other one, you guys may not know this, but again, this is something I posted on Instagram. Back in January, so half a year ago, I bought a 2006 Ford GT, my dream car, and I totally would have thought I was gonna make a video on it by now, but I still haven't seen it. It's over in California, the same state I bought it from, at Bowden Auto House getting some improvements. I thought I would have it by now, but again, good things are worth waiting for. So a lot of cool content coming up very, very soon. I've been doing a whole lot of buying, but not a whole lot of driving, enjoying, and filming. So stay patient with me. But anyway, back to the subject matter here. Corvette C6 ZR1. So stoked that I finally own one. I've loved this car for so long. So now that I finally own one, my goodness, I'm so happy, and I'll try to do my part and have a lot of content out there because I don't think there's enough C6 ZR1 videos on YouTube. So stay patient with me, but that just about does it. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next time. Take care.